Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star of our show, Terry.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to The Music and Me, the podcast where we celebrate the songs, shows, and sounds that get stuck in our heads and sometimes refuse to leave. I'm your host, Terry, and today we're doing something a little different, but so much fun. We're going to be talking about the catchiest, most iconic commercial jingles of all time. You know the ones. Those tiny little tunes that somehow burrow deep into your brain and pop up at the most random times. Like you're making dinner and suddenly you're singing, plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is. And don't try to deny it because we've all been there. In this episode, we're going to be taking a nostalgic stroll through some of the most memorable jingles ever. We'll break down why they get stuck in our heads, and I'll even share the story of the time I wrote my very own jingle for a local Italian restaurant way back in college. Spoiler, it was genius. The professor, he disagreed, and I'm convinced the restaurant went out of business because they didn't use it. So stick around because this one's going to be catchy, literally. Also, there will be a little bit of singing in this episode by me, so I apologize that my voice is not the greatest. But it'll make it more fun, I think. All right, before we dive into the classics, let's hit rewind. Way back. The year was 1926. No TikTok ads, no Instagram reels, not even TV yet. Just you, your radio, and a whole lot of static between stations. And then something happened that would change advertising forever. Enter Wheaties cereal. The sales weren't exactly great for Wheaties. In fact, Wheaties was on the chopping block. But then someone at the company had a wild idea. What if we sing about the cereal? So they hired a barbershop quartet, and these four guys stepped up to the mic and harmonized their hearts out. Have you tried Wheaties? They're the best breakfast food in the land. And just like that, boom, sales skyrocketed. Families were rushing to the store for Wheaties like it was the 1920s version of a TikTok food trend. It was the first time advertisers realized the power of a catchy tune. And from that moment on, a new rule was born. If you make it sing, people will remember the thing. And trust me, brands caught on fast. Pretty soon, everyone wanted their product to have its very own little earworm. Radios across America were filled with cheerful singers convincing people to buy everything from soap to soda to shoe polish. Remember, this was long before influencers and algorithms were sliding into your feed trying to sell you skincare. Back then, it was just you, the radio, and some ridiculously catchy jingles. And you know what? They worked. Because here we are, almost a century later, still humming them in the shower while folding laundry and driving to work. All right, speaking of jingles that get stuck in your head, it's time for me to tell you about the time I tried to make one myself. Spoiler alert, it did not skyrocket any sales. So, picture this. I'm in college, sitting in one of my advertising classes, when the professor drops this big assignment on us. We had to create our own jingle for a business or product. And I thought, I'm going to go big, I'm going to go real, and I'm going to change lives here. There was this local restaurant, Mazio's, in my hometown, and I decided that they needed my genius. I was so convinced that this was going to be the jingle that would put them on the map. And here's where it gets funnier. I used the tune from Let's Go Fly a Kite from Mary Poppins. Yep, nothing says authentic Italian dining like Mary Poppins and a spoonful of marinara. I actually came up with the whole thing while I was walking in the park with my mom. We were walking, and I was brainstorming in my head, tossing out rhymes, singing tunes, and then I landed on the perfect lyrics and the perfect tune. I swear, it felt like a creative breakthrough. I was so excited. I could see the entire commercial in my head, and I was ready for my Clio Award. Fast forward to presentation day. I hand in my project, feeling like I've basically reinvented the advertising industry, and then I get my grade back. It's okay. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And I thought, no, my professor clearly did not understand my artistic vision. I mean, I worked so hard on this jingle. So, being a shy person, I thought, should I keep the grade or do I think I deserve better? I finally decided I needed a better grade on this jingle. So I talked to my professor and asked for a better grade. And then he hits me with, all right, sing it for me. And as I said, I am a shy person, so this was very hard. And I don't know if you've ever had to perform your very serious Italian restaurant jingle in front of a fully grown adult who is not amused, but it's quite humbling. I reluctantly sang the entire jingle. And when I finished, he looked at me, paused, and said something like, okay, I'll take a look at the grade. But then when I looked at the grade later, it was exactly the same. Rude. But here's the kicker. Years later, my family still remembers that jingle. In fact, my niece actually brought it up just the other day and started singing it to me. I mean, it's been living rent-free in all of their heads for years. So you know what that means? Technically, I did write a catchy jingle. I just made $0 from it. And honestly, I can't help but think that's the reason Mazio's eventually closed. Because they didn't use my masterpiece. I mean, we'll never know, but I'm pretty sure I could have saved them. I mean, here's how my jingle went as far as I can remember. Let's go to Mazio's, where all the families go. Let's go to Mazio's for great Italian. That's all I can remember for now, but it was a masterpiece, as I said. And I still didn't get a better grade for it. It was good, but not great. All right, now that we've covered my personal failed attempt at becoming the next Don Draper, let's dive into some of the most classic, iconic, and ridiculously catchy jingles of all time. These are the tunes that have lived in our heads rent-free for years. The ones you can't hear without immediately singing along. And I've got some little fun backstories about each one because, well, I'm just that nice, but not too nice because I may sing a few of these jingles to you. So beware. Let's kick off with one of the most famous jingles ever written. I'd like to buy the world a Coke by Coca-Cola. Now, this wasn't just a Coke commercial, it was a whole movement. In 1971, Coca-Cola ran a campaign called Hilltop, where a bunch of young people stood on the hilltop in Italy singing, I'd like to buy the world a Coke and keep it company. I do remember this jingle and I remember singing it. Here's a fun fact. The song was originally written for a British group, but when Coke's ad agency got involved, they tweaked the lyrics and boom, instant magic. It became so popular that radio stations were flooded with requests to play the ad like it was a top 40 hit. Eventually, they turned it into a full song. I'd like to teach the world to sing, which actually climbed the charts. So yeah, Coke didn't just sell soda, they sold world peace in a bottle. Next up, we have Nationwide is on Your Side by Nationwide Insurance. Short, sweet, stuck in your head forever. This classic debuted in 1965 and was written by Steve Carman, also known as the King of the Jingle. No, seriously, this guy was behind dozens of the most famous jingles in history. Nationwide loved the original so much that they've kept the melody alive for decades. Over the years, it's been sung by everyone from Peyton Manning to Brad Paisley, and even modernized into different genres. But no matter what, those 5 little words, Nationwide is on your side, instantly bring the tune to your brain whether you want it there or not. Next up, we have Gimme a Break by Kit Kat. Ah, yes, the jingle that literally gives you permission to eat chocolate. This one debuted in 1986 and was written by ad agency JWT. The original full version was, Gimme a break, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Fun fact, they didn't expect this one to take off. It was kind of a last-minute addition to the campaign. But after it aired, people started calling radio stations and TV networks begging them to replay the ad because they wanted to hear the song again. That's when Kit Kat realized, oh, this thing's gold. And let's be honest, I dare you to say Kit Kat right now without immediately singing that line in your head. It's impossible. Next up, we have The Best Part of Waking Up by Folgers Coffee. So coffee lovers, this one is for you. Folgers came out with what might be the most famous coffee jingle ever written. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. It became so iconic that Folgers ran with it for over 30 years. And get this, over the years, they've actually held nationwide contests inviting everyday people to re-record the jingle in their own style. Wonder if they would have liked my version. Probably not. Folks have done gospel versions, country versions, rock versions, even barbershop quartets. Here's another fun trivia fact. Leslie Pearl wrote the original melody, and it's been slightly tweaked a few times, but the core tune never changed. Why mess with perfection, right? Next up, we have Plop Plop Fizz Fizz by Alka-Seltzer, which I already sang to you, so you're welcome. Now, this one is a classic. Imagine being in a recording studio trying to make stomach relief sound fun. And somehow, they nailed it. Alka-Seltzer debuted the jingle. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is. It was short, silly, and absolutely unforgettable. But here's the best part. They had multiple ads using this jingle, including one where a man says, I can't believe I ate the whole thing, which became such a cultural phenomenon that people still quote it today. Alka-Seltzer basically made indigestion cool. Next up, we have Like a Good Neighbor from State Farm, which I see these commercials all the time still to this day. Now this one has a musical legend behind it. None other than Barry Manilow. Yes, that Barry Manilow. In 1971, State Farm asked him to write something simple, catchy, and timeless. And wow, did he deliver. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Fast forward to today, and they've used it in dozens of commercials, even letting celebrities like Patrick Mahomes and Jake from State Farm make it fun again for new generations. But at its core, it's still Barry's little masterpiece. Next up, we have Oscar Mayer Has a Way for Oscar Mayer Baloney. This one is peak nostalgia. In the 1960s, a 5-year-old girl named Andy Lambros starred in the original commercial, singing this super catchy little tune about spelling baloney. My baloney has a first name, it's Oscar. And the thing is, the ad ran for decades and became one of the longest running jingles in history. People loved it so much that even today, there's a good chance you can still sing the entire thing. No practice required. Which I can because I used to sing this song all the time. I remember when I was a kid, I used to sing this song all the time. You see what I mean? Jingles are sneaky little time machines. One second you're listening to a podcast, and the next thing you know, you're standing in your childhood kitchen, pouring cereal, humming a tune you didn't even realize you remembered. All right, we've talked about the classics, but now we're stepping it up a notch. These aren't just jingles. These are pop culture icons. The kind of tunes that broke out of the commercials and made their way into movies, TV shows, memes, and even your subconscious. So whether you love them, hate them, or secretly both, you definitely know them. So let's dive in. All right, first up, we have I Want My Baby Back Ribs for Chili's. All right, everybody, raise your hand if you just sang I Want My Baby Back Ribs in your head. I mean, you can't help it. This one's basically burned into your DNA. The jingle first debuted when Chili's wanted a way to make their ribs sound irresistible. So they brought in a group of deep voice singers who delivered that smooth, soulful harmony, and it worked. Sales went up, the ad became iconic, and suddenly everybody wanted ribs. Now, I don't like ribs, but I do know the song. But here's where it gets fun. This jingle became so popular that it's been parodied everywhere. Remember when Mike Myers' character in Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me sings it? That's iconic. It also popped up on shows like The Office and Family Guy because it's just that recognizable. Fun fact, in 2002, NSYNC even recorded their own version of the jingle for a special ad campaign. Yes, Justin Timberlake once sang about ribs. You're welcome. Next up, we have 1877 Cars for Kids. For Cars for Kids, which I'm not totally familiar with, but we have to talk about this one. This is the jingle that people love to hate or maybe hate to love. Either way, you might know it. 1877 Cars for Kids. KARS, Cars for Kids. The charity launched this earworm in 2009, and honestly, it might be one of the most polarizing jingles of all time. Some people claim it's so annoying that they mute their TVs when it comes on. Others proudly sing along in their cars. Either way, it worked. Brand recognition for Cars for Kids went through the roof and donations skyrocketed. Fun fact, the jingle has been parodied on Saturday Night Live, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and even TikTok, where creators turn it into everything from rock ballads to heavy metal remixes. Love it or hate it, we can all agree on one thing. It's impossible to forget. The next one is for the cat lovers out there. It is Meow 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 for Meow Mix. The Meow Mix jingle is pure genius because, well, it's literally just cats singing meow, 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 meow. And here's the wild part. This jingle first debuted in 1974, and it wasn't even supposed to be a big deal. But the second it aired, people couldn't stop talking about it. Not only was it adorable, but it was also brilliant marketing. Cats everywhere were perking up their ears, and humans couldn't resist singing along. In fact, the jingle became so iconic that Meow Mix ran multiple campaigns using different styles of the same tune. Disco, opera, mariachi, you name it. And in the early 2000s, they even launched a Meow Mix House reality show where cats competed to become the next spokescat. Yep, that was a real thing, and yes, it was amazing. Fun bonus fact, over the years, Meow Mix has brought the original jingle back again and again because, honestly, why mess with perfection? I'm pretty sure this is my cat's favorite jingle of all time. I'll go play it to her later and see if she likes it. Next up, we have one of my favorite jingles of all time. It's I Don't Want to Grow Up, I'm a Toys R Us Kid for Toys R Us. So get your tissues ready because this one hits you right in the childhood feels. I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. I love this jingle so much and I used to sing it all the time. This jingle debuted in the 1980s and became an anthem for generations of kids everywhere. The lyrics promised a magical place where toys were endless, childhood lasted forever, and growing up was, frankly, overrated. It ran in ads for decades and became so beloved that parents and kids alike could sing it word for word. But here's the bittersweet part. When Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy in 2018 and closed most of their stores, people all over social media were posting videos of themselves singing the jingle in tribute. It became more than just a commercial. It was a core memory. And if you're like me, you probably can't hear that tune without immediately picturing Jeffrey the Giraffe smiling back at you. Ugh, childhood nostalgia overload. So you see, these aren't just ads. They're little pop culture time capsules. Whether they made us laugh, cry, crave baby back ribs, or sing meow for no reason at all, these jingles became part of who we are. We didn't just watch them, you lived them. Okay, so we've spent this entire episode talking about the jingles that got stuck in our heads for decades. But here's the question. Are jingles still a thing today? I mean, think about it. Back in the day, if you were watching TV, you couldn't escape them. Every other commercial had a full-blown 30-second mini musical production designed to make you sing about cereal, cars, soda, or cat food. But now, We're living in the streaming era. We skip ads, we binge shows. Half the time, we pay extra just so we don't have to hear commercials at all. So, does that mean jingles are dead? Well, not exactly. They've just evolved. Instead of long, catchy songs, brands are leaning into something called sonic branding. Short, recognizable sounds that instantly make you think of their product. You might not be able to hum a 30-second jingle anymore, but you do know these sounds. Intel's bum 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 bum. That little 4-note tune has been around since 1994 and is still one of the most recognizable sonic logos in the world. You hear it once and suddenly you're picturing laptops and futuristic tech commercials. Netflix's Ta-Dum! 2 little notes launched in 2015 that somehow carry the emotional weight of an entire binge-watching weekend. Seriously, when you hear that sound, you know you're about to make some questionable just one more episode decisions. McDonald's ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Okay, yes, this one's technically a modern jingle, but is so short and catchy it's basically sonic branding at this point. And here's a fun fact. Justin Timberlake actually recorded the original full-length song for this campaign back in 2003. That's right. First ribs, now McNuggets. That man's resume is impressive. And here's where it gets even more fun. Some brands are realizing that nostalgia sells. So instead of inventing new jingles, they're just bringing back the classics. Take Kit Kat, for example. After trying a few different campaigns, they realized nothing hits quite like gimme a break, and brought it back. Or Meow Mix? Yep, the cats are still meowing decades later. And when Toys R Us briefly reopened a few stores, you bet they dusted off, I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid, because they knew it would trigger every millennial's childhood nostalgia button. So yeah, jingles didn't die, they just got shorter, smarter, and sneakier. Now, they're little sonic shortcuts, tiny sounds and melodies designed to live in your head forever. And based on the fact that we've been talking about them for, the past 20 minutes, I'd say mission accomplished. All right, before we wrap things up, I usually do my interesting fact segment in the middle of this episode, but today I thought I'd switch it up and save it for the end as a little bonus treat. Because honestly, there are so many quirky things about jingles that I couldn't fit into the main episode. So, here's a few fun facts that you probably didn't know. Barry Manilow is the jingle king. Before he became famous for songs like Mandy and Copacabana, Barry Manilow was writing jingles. In fact, he created 2 of the most iconic ones ever. I'm Stuck on Band-Aid and Like a Good Neighbor, State Farm is There, as I mentioned before. Not a bad side hustle, right? Next, Kit Kat's global twist. The Gimme a Break jingle, it's not just popular in the US, it's been translated and re-recorded all around the world. In Japan, Kit Kats are even considered a good luck charm for students taking exams. Imagine snacking your way to better grades. Maybe that would have helped my jingle. I should have had a Kit Kat. And last fun fact, jingles equal big money. Here's the wildest one. Some companies reported that sales jump by 400% after launching a catchy jingle. That little tune you can't get out of your head? Yeah, it could be worth millions. Maybe I should have stuck to jingle writing. Eventually, one of them would make me millions. And that is a wrap on today's episode. We've sung our way through some of the most classic, catchy, and unforgettable jingles of all time. From Wheaties starting it all back in 1926, to Folgers helping us get out of bed, to Chili's baby back ribs taking over pop culture, and yes, even to the controversial Cars for Kids earworm that's probably stuck in your head again. You're welcome, or I'm sorry. Maybe both. It's pretty wild to think that these little tunes have become such a huge part of our memories. They weren't just selling us cereal or cars or cat food, they were soundtracking our lives. Whether you loved them, hated them, or pretended to hate them while secretly humming them in the shower, there's no denying that jingles had serious staying power. But now, in the age of streaming, jingles have evolved. Brands are playing with sonic logos, like those quick little sounds like Netflix's ta-dam or the Intel chime. Same goal, different strategy. Make sure the sound sticks in your brain forever. Honestly, I think it's genius, and maybe just a little evil. The best part of waking up is catchy jingles in your head. Now, before I go, here's a little teaser for the next episode. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this one. We're stepping out of the world of advertising and onto the stage as we dive into the history of Broadway. From its humble beginnings to the dazzling productions that we know today, we'll explore how Broadway became the ultimate home for music, magic, and drama. If you're a theater lover or even just curious about why Broadway is such a big deal, you'll definitely want to tune in. Until then, keep singing, keep smiling, and remember, if it's stuck in your head, it's doing its job. Peace out, everybody. This has been the Music in Me podcast. Subscribe now so you don't miss a beat.